Hello, welcome to the final day of Advent of Cyber, the day 24. So, we are dealing with curl today. So, let's dive into the storyline and see what we have before we touch upon the curl functionalities and stuff. So, the story. According to the blue team intel, the wormhole is held open by a control panel on the Elves Bunny's web server. The team must shut it down first to cut off the reinforcement before the facing King Malhare. However, the terminal they have is bare. No burp suit, no browser, just a command prompt. But that's fine. The team will use command line and curl to speak HTTP directly, send requests, read responses, and find endpoints that shut the portal. So today's learning objectives are to understand what HTTP request and response are at the high level, use curl to make basic requests using get and view raw responses in the terminal, send post requests with curl to submit data to endpoints, work with cookies and session in the curl to maintain login state across requests. Okay, for that we have to start the attack box and we have a VM also today. So let's start both of them. By the time they start up, we can continue reading with the contents for today. HTTP request using curl. Applications like our browsers communicate with servers using HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. Think of HTTP as the language of asking a server for resources, papers, images, JSON data, and getting answers back. So if you want to access a website, your browser sends an HTTP request to web server. If the request is valid, the server replies with an HTTP response that contains the data needed to display the website. In the absence of a browser, you can still speak HTTP directly from the command line. The simplest way is with curl. Curl is a command line tool for crafting HTTP requests and viewing raw responses. It's ideal when you need precision or when GUI tool isn't available. Trying out curl. Once you have attack box ready, open command prompt and run the command below. Curl HTTP and the IP address. So our attack box is still loading. Let's wait for the attack box to load up and then let's come back here. Okay, here we have the attack box open. So let's press on enter and let's open up the terminal there. Inside the terminal, let's run the command curl http, then colon slash slash, then the IP address that we want to communicate with 10.48.186.25, then slash. Pressing enter, which says welcome to the curl practice server. Sorry. Try sending your post request to slash post.php. What happens after running the command is that the curl sensor and HTTP get request for the site's homepage, and HTTP response is received containing the body, which is then printed in the terminal. Because this is a terminal, instead of rendering the web page, what you will see is the text representation of the page in HTML. Sending post request. Suppose you have found a login from whose post target is slash post.php. When you log in through a browser, it sends a post request to the server containing the credentials you entered. We can simulate this directly from the terminal. A normal login from submission might look like this: curl hyphen x, the method that we want to choose, then hyphen d is going to contain the data, then the URL where we want to send this in. So let's type that in. So curl hyphen x, the method that we want to use for interacting with the server. We want the post method. Hyphen d is going to contain the data that we want to transfer to the site. So let's have this in view. Inside the double quotes, it says username is equal to user and password is equal to user. So this parameter you can actually identify when you do a get request of the post.php page. There also you'll get what parameters are being viewed or are being seen for. So let's do that. Let's try what we'll get with that. So curl http, then the IP address that we want to interact with 10.48.186.25 slash post.php. So pressing enter, it says send post data like this. They've given an option there, But in other cases, if you get the source code there, you can see what are the parameters which is being passed in the input box, and then you can pass the same command there. Okay, let's do the actual thing which we need to do. So curl hyphen x post, then hyphen d. Inside the bracket, we can say username is equal to user and password is equal to user. Then give the URL that we want to send this data to. Let's copy this, paste it there, then call it as post.php, press enter. That says invalid credentials. You should get the reply invalid credentials. Yes, we did get it. Here's what's happening. Control hyphen x post tells curl to use the post method. Hyphen d defines what data we are sending in the body of the request. The data will be sent in the URL encoded format, which is the same as what HTML forms use. If the application accepts additional fields like a login button or a CSRF token, they can be included too. So they're giving an example of that, I guess. It says and submit is equal to login, then the URL where it is supposed to go. To view exactly what the server returns, including headers and potential redirects, add I. Okay, so what we'll do is let's try with and submit is equal to login as the parameter there. Let's do it and see what we'll get the response as. So and submit is equal to login. Then pressing enter. Again, it says invalid credentials. I guess that this is going to be the admin and password combination. Okay, so let's continue here. They have told us to add the parameter I here, which is going to be looking at what exactly is happening there. So hyphen I, curl hyphen I, pressing enter, it says what is the headers of it. Basically, we get a 200 response, okay, and the date and all those things. Now, if you're wondering, come on, I don't know what commands to use with curl, you can always come here to curl hyphen hyphen help, and then it's going to list out all the commands and switches that it has, which you can use for interacting and using curl there. So if you're ever stuck, you can use the help command and use the right options to deal with curl. Okay, let's continue here. It says invalid credentials. My feeling says I should put this in and try with it. But let's continue reading and see what exactly we have for today. So it says if the site responds with a set cookie header, that's a good sign. It means you have successfully logged in or at least triggered a session. So in our case, we don't see that option here. It just says HTTP. What is the status code, and then the server and the content length and all those information. But no set cookie header, which means that we have not logged in successfully. Is there a typo here? I just want to make sure there is no typo in my here. So it doesn't look like there is anything. So fine, it says once you log in. So which means that we'll have to log in, and for logging in, we'll have to use some credential. So let's, instead of user, let's go with admin and password also as admin, and then try it here. Oh, it says login successful, flag found. Okay. Was it supposed to be later? Or how is it? I don't know. I just tried this attempt by doing it and I got a flag. Okay. So once you log in, web applications use set cookies to keep your session active. Yeah. So after you do that, the cookie is something which stores the information about what user is logged in into the site and what are their configurations. Sometimes you would have some themes set. So cookies, remember, for this user, this is the theme that needs to be set up. So all those informations can be saved in a cookie along with other information like from where did you come from and redirects and all those information. So yeah, you can use that parameter to check where and what cookies are set. When you make another request to your web browser, the cookie gets sent automatically. But with the curl, you need to handle it yourself. You can do it in two steps. Save the cookie. So we can save the cookie in a text file and then share it along the side of the page or the request that we're doing. And then that's going to know what parameters are we using there. Then -c option writes any cookies received from the server into a file. then you often see a session cookie like ph session id xyz123. So let's do this. Let's run this command here. Let's say -c in the beginning. Let's come here and add a -c and say cookies.txt. That's going to save the cookies somewhere. Yes. So cat cookies.txt. It just says netcap http cookie files, and the file was generated by libcurl editor. Okay, editor owner. So we don't get any data as such from that. Fine, let's continue reading here. Step 2, reuse the saved cookies. So b curl, then passing it to session.php. Okay, so let's do that. So curl hyphen b. So b option tells curl to send the saved cookies in the next request, just like a browser would. So hyphen b cookies.txt, and where do we want to send it? That's the location here, 10.48.186.25 slash session.php. Pressing enter, it says please log in first by posting to this page. So we'll have to post it there. Okay, again, I have no clear picture. I'm just following the commands and then experimenting my own stuff. So let's continue reading here. This is exactly how sessions replay testing works, by replaying valid cookies in separate requests, automating login, and performing a brute force using curl. Okay, wait, what should I do with the flag that I got? Make a post request to the post with the endpoint username as admin and password. What is the flag that you receive? So let's paste the flag that we get here, and make sure that we don't have to forget that or come back to that later. So let's come back. What is the next question which we had? Make a request to cookie.php endpoint with a, okay, so we are yet to do that. With this, it says curl. Again, they're telling to reuse it, but there is no valid response or cookies that was generated, so that's not an issue. Let's continue reading here, talking about brute forcing using curl. Now that we can send post requests and manage sessions, it's time to automate things. Let us stimulate a brute force attack against a weak login form. Start by creating a file called passwords.txt and place the following passwords inside it. Let's copy this, and then I guess we can paste it to the clipboard. Good. Now I'll use a nano editor. So nano passwords, if I can type it right, passwords.txt, then pasting it there, Control X, Y, and enter to exit out of the nano editor. And with this, we can even print out what we have saved. Press cat, and then we get the contents, what is stored inside password.txt. So we have admin123, password, let me in, secret pass, and secrets as the password we want to brute force for. Now, then create a simple bash loop called loop.sh to try each password against bruteforce.php and copy paste the following code inside it. Okay, so we are doing a brute force. For that, we are automating it by using a code. It's a bash script. So let's copy the code and paste it into the clipboard here. Then let's create a loop.sh file. So I'll again use nano editor, nano loop.sh, and paste the command there, Control X, Y, enter. So we have our loop.sh file, which we can use for trying an admin and password related to that admin user using the script, or the using the password list which we generated, which is the passwords.txt file. Okay, so what this is doing, let's get into it. So for pass and cat, so it's nothing but it's printing out the contents, what is present inside the passwords.txt file. That's what, this is how you will get. And it's doing a for loop, and it's going to say trying password, and setting that as a variable called pass. So it's going to try every time. It's going to try brute forcing. The first message is going to be trying password, and then it's going to say admin123, and next time it's going to say trying password, and so on. So then it's going to say response is equal to curl, it's sending in the information now, -s -x, then posting the method. So we are using post, then -d, then passing in the password in the place of passwords parameter, then the URL that we want it to go to. Then if echo response grep welcome, if there's any response in which there is a word called as welcome, then it says password found, and then it's going to give the password. If and then it's going to break out of it. If not, the loop is going to continue till the end of the list there. Okay, so let's run this. To run this, we need to give the executable permission. So chmod x, it's nothing but making the file, which is the .sh file, executable. So we say chmod loop.sh, and that is now executable. So all that we have to do is say loop.sh and press enter. That's going to try for each of them. And in this case, it says secret pass. That is the password of it, and has found it. That's nice. So here's how it's work. Again, I've just explained it. So let's skip that and let's come here. This exact method underpins tools like Hydra, Brute Intruder, and WFuzz. By doing it manually, you understand what's happening under the hood. A respective HTTP post with a variable data, waiting for different responses. Bypassing user agent check. Some applications block CURL by checking the user agent header. For example, the server may reject request with user agent curl 7 and the version of it. A specific custom user agent we can use the -a flag. So let's do that. I'll just copy the entire command which is right there and then paste it to the clipboard. Come on, paste it there and then press enter. So that's going to use the user agent as internal computer to this place. Now let's say I had not specified that user agent, what would happen? So let's do that. Let's press enter. It says blocked, only internal computer user agents are allowed. So for that reason, we are passing in the user agent as internal computer, and by this time we get welcome internal computer. So that's how it's going to check. So to confirm the check, you can they are running the same thing, and this time with the user agent as internal computer. If the first fails and the second succeeds, the UA check is working and you have bypassed it by spoofing. Bonus mission. This section is optional and applies only to the final bonus question. The instruction in this section does not apply to the regular question. Feel free to skip it and proceed with the regular questions if you don't intend to attempt it. Before the final battle can begin, the wormhole must be closed to stop enemy reinforcement. The evil master bunnies operate a web control panel that holds it open. The blue team must identify endpoints, authenticate and obtain the operator token, and call the close operation. Hint: use rocky.txt when brute forcing for the password, only for the bonus mission. The pin is between 4000 to 5000. Okay, so let's go back to this mission later, but first answer all these questions that is there. Let's get into the second question here. Make a request to the cookie.php endpoint with the username admin and the password admin and save the cookie. Reuse the saved cookie at the same endpoint. What is the flag that you receive? Okay, so to save the cookie, we use an option -c, right? So we have that command already entered here. We will just reuse the same command, but change all those parameters there. So instead of posting, okay, we have the credentials as admin itself, but let's do some small modification here. Let's remove and submit is equal to loop and just pass in the URL there. Inside the URL, let's modify post.php to cookie.php. Pressing enter, it says login successful, cookie set. So printing out the cookies.txt, we can see that it has set the PHP session ID to be this thing. Okay, that's good. So now all that we can do is to use the -b option to pass into the same URL. So let's remove that and then pass it to cookie.php endpoint. Pressing enter, yes, it says welcome back admin, and we get the flag there. Let's copy the flag, Paste it in here and click on check. After doing the brute force on the bruteforce.php endpoint, what is the password of the admin user? We had it right here. It says secret pass. Let's check. Make a request to the agent.php endpoint with the user agent, the best festive company. What is the flag that you receive? For the user agent, let's modify the above request itself. And in here, let's remove all these other endpoints and rename it to agent.php. Also, let's remove this user agent and put the username agent as tbfc. Pressing enter, we get the flag there. So let's copy the flag. Let's copy this, paste it in here, click on check. That's done. Bonus question: can you solve the final mission and get the flag? Okay, I did try, but luck was not in my favor. I tried with rocket.txt to some extent, but then I felt that's getting too long. So I'll skip for this right now, but then I'll come back to it sometime later. Okay, let's get to the conclusion part here. Final battle commences. With the wormhole closed, the King Malhare no longer had access to his reinforcements. Mixed Kitty looked to her fellow werewolf town members. The king would only be vulnerable for a moment. The time to strike was now. Charge! Mixed Kitty exclaimed. Mixed Kitty and the townspeople of Werewolf began unloading a barrage of snowballs on the king's bunny battalions. They quickly returned fire with egg projectiles. The strike line became a blur of snowballs and eggs. Mixed Kitty used this moment of chaos to sneak into King's throne room. Just as Mixed Kitty was about to gain entry, a voice stopped her. Not so fast, giggled Sir Carrot Bane. He slowly approached Mixed Kitty, who suddenly felt underprepared. Just when she thought she was out of luck, Sir Carrot Ben Locker 3 stepped in front of her. Go, he simply said. What are you doing? Sir Carrot Ben shuddered. What I should have done a long time ago. What's right? Sir Beach Locker 3 slammed his shield into the snow and drew his sword. Go, he shouted, turning to Mixed Kitty. The end of the road. Mixed Kitty seized the moment and ran into King's throne room, where she found King Malhare throwing a tantrum. Where are my reinforcements? That's not coming, Malhare, Mixed Kitty affirmed. It's over. Werewolf is ours. Now let's see how you like being captive. Now. As she shouted, two werewolf town members sprang a cage on King. It was over. Thanks in large part of your effort, Mixed Kitty had been freed. King Malhare had finally been stopped. Werewolf was safe once again. The king was dethroned and sent to Hopsec prison along with his prisoners. Sir Batch Locker 3 was pardoned for his part in stopping King's triangle plan and later became King Batch Locker. Congratulations on finishing the advent of cyber and saving the day. From all of us at the TryHackMe, have a Merry Sockmas and Happy New Year. So, yep, I just completed Advent of Cyber 2025. I know it's very long after the event got over, but I got busy, so could not finish it then. But now I've finally finished, so let's click on continue and click on continue once again. Let's click on close. I hope with that we have finished the entire journey of Advent of Cyber. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around with me for this entire duration of Advent of Cyber 2025. Huge thank you for all the supports and the likes that you did to throughout this event. So meet you all in next year 2026 Advent of Cyber with this new theme of the white theme of snowfall and all those things. Okay, anyways, I'll stop blabbering. Thank you for watching. Stay happy, stay smiling. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.